pleasant good afternoon, and thank you to those of you who are joining us, firstly, live on Facebook by the Government of the Virgin Islands, and to the public officers who I'm sure are coming off of lunch and are now joining us live on Teams as well for this panel discussion. My name is Yusei Z. Adams, the Communications Officer here in the Governor's Group, and I'm delighted to be joined by what I'm going to call a panel of bigwigs. Um, these are some very impressive ladies that I'm flanked with on my left and my right. And before we go any further, I'm going to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves. They're going to tell you who they are and where they're coming from. I'll start on my far left.
Sure. My name is Lynette Rapsat. I'm the Human Resources Manager in the Ministry of Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Kishan Cupid Brathwaite, the Public Service Transformation Manager with the Office of the Deputy Governor.
Good afternoon. My name is Keddy Moan Rubain. I am Director of Customer Service within the Office of the Deputy Governor.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I am Abara Brown, Customer Service Manager for the Customer Service Care Center under the Office of the Deputy Governor.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chanda Letsam. I am the Information System Services Officer in the Department of Information Technology.
Thank you so much, ladies. So before we get any further, I want to give a bit of context. This morning and throughout today, it's Public Service Week 1, but it's also CX Day here in the Virgin Islands and throughout the globe. CX Day, as Director Rubain explained earlier this morning, is a global celebration, firstly, of the mission of customer service, but more importantly, the people that help to provide that excellent service that this public service is now becoming globally known for. And that's a whole other topic because we've done the work to get there. Our panel discussion this afternoon rather is on the theme putting people first, seamless service, stronger communities. The the theme centers around some very important points that we work with as it comes to customer service. Firstly, and as Ms. Rubain and I and the transformation manager, we work closely together that we're aware of putting people first. We recognized a while ago that a public service that is centered on systems cannot grow. A public service that is built on systems cannot function as it needs to. It is people that come to work every day. It is people that provide the service to the clients and internal and external. And so in our duties, we have to put people first. And I think the proper place to start when talking about putting people first might be at the human resources arm, because that's where it all begins for a public officer. So I'll start with you, Ms. Rapsat. As a human resources manager, can you tell me what does it mean to you to put people first?
Sure, that's a great question. And as an HR manager in a ministry, of course, you have to ensure that you look out for the welfare of the team that you serve. When we're doing recruitment, ensuring that we respond promptly, give people the best experience, ensure that all the salary matters are handled. And when we work in human resources, it really is people first, because when you hire someone, you hire them and whatever they have going on in their lives. And I think working in the government of the Virgin Islands is an excellent opportunity because we have our employee relations unit that provides other support and services to persons along the way. We also have our Virgin Islands Public Service Learning Institute, which provides training opportunities for persons to grow. So when we're talking people first, it's not just about pushing the paper. It's about making the experience great and ensuring that public officers are heard. And, it's a great opportunity being able to interact with persons like the deputy governor, who absolutely, gives his support all the way to all public officers. So people first, like I said, not just about the processes, but it's about ensuring that we take care of each other, have the teamwork, and put our best foot forward.
That's very good, and I think you started us off really well. It's centered around providing that support, being present, being visible, and also being willing to put your foot in, and wade in the water with us. I'll also toss this one to the public service transformation manager, who I know works closely with the Department of Human Resources as well. from your perspective as the person who is leading the charge in making this public service modern and efficient, what does it mean to put people first?
Thank you, Ms. Adams. People, as Ms. Rapsat mentioned, is that they're the heartbeat of everything. We can transform our processes, we can transform our systems, we can use technology, we can review and revise our laws and legislation and make them more modern. We can do so many things, but if we do not deal with our people are the persons who bring everything to life. They're the ones that have to take the action. And if they're not in the right space, and that's why I sometimes preach a lot about mind shifts, shifting our mindset. If our people do not change their mindset and embrace transformation in every single thing that they do, then nothing happens. It's an organizational shift that has to happen, and that's at the heart. People are the heart of that. We have to develop, and that's the only way our culture can shift. Okay? So if people don't embrace this transformational journey that we've been on for quite some time, then we're going to just not see anything different. We won't feel it. Our clients won't feel it. Our internal customers won't feel it, which is each other. So it all begins with people. People are the heart of it.
So there are a few key points that I like that you made there. Firstly, we're really not working for an organizational change. That's something that we can do by paper. We can wake up one day and say the public service is now this great big company and we're doing this different than we did yesterday. We can do that easily. The goal is a culture change. And naturally, culture involves people. But the change of culture takes time.
It does.
It takes intention as well.
And that's the hard part.
And
That's
it
the
yeah,
hard part.
it takes being willing, and it also takes buy-in.
Correct.
It's a collaboration. So I know you have had, I don't know if I should call it a difficult task, but you have been working behind the scenes for how many years have you been in your
March next year will be 3 years since I've been in this role.
3 years of transformation, and that the little bulb that you now see every now and then should be a symbol of this light of difference, this light of change. I want to jump to Miss Letsum
Go ahead.
quickly. I want to jump to Miss Letsum. Putting people first. I think naturally, persons might dismiss this topic from you as someone who works in the Department of IT. There's this image that persons in IT just sit behind their computer typing away at night. But as much as you and I and your team interact, I'm aware, and you have to deal with me and deal with Ms. Rubé, and I'm aware that dealing with people and putting the needs of people, maybe it's becoming a prevalent part of your role. Can you tell me what putting people first means to you?
You say becoming, but I think it's always been
Always been.
at the center of our role, because if we're designing or building any sort of systems, websites, whatever, we have to consider the persons that are going to interact with it, that are going to use it, that are going to put the information into it. So at the center of what we do is putting people first. We have to think about the internal users, as someone said, but also the external users. What are they expecting? What are they looking for? How do they want to interact with this information and make it easier and friendly for them to be able to use the systems, use the websites, use the information that is there to the best of their ability.
Thank you. And I want to kind of get the other side, the contrast to that with Ms. Brown now. People might be the most primary thing of your role. Downstairs in the center, every now and then I might pop through because I can't handle the pressure. I'm not built for it. But people are really is really the focus of what you do. And what I like about it is that the name of the center actually has the word care for it, to exemplify the need for compassion in what we do. Tell me, what does putting people first mean to you?
Putting people first at the customer service center is just making sure our customers have a totally amazing customer experience. We're truly, truly convicted about ensuring our customers have a wonderful customer experience journey. So that means, for example, from time they come in to the main reception, they're greeted with a warm smile. We give them an awesome handshake. We make them feel welcome, comfortable, and we extend all the additional courtesies to let them know that they're valued. Their time is important. Their subject matter is important. And we take time with them so that we can explain the processes. And then we ensure that they feel at the end of the day they are valued. And we create the opportunity to build trust. And we ensure that our customers are retained and that we let them know that they're important to us.
Thank you. And lastly, on this topic, definitely not least, I'll tag in the Director of Customer Service. As the person who provides policy leadership and overall leadership for customer service, you have a big job. Um, Tell me, what does putting people first mean to you? And also a second point for that for you. Tell me how it drives you every day.
The second part is interesting. Putting people first means to me creating opportunities for public officers to be guided on how they should deliver service, to make it easy for them. Putting people first, like the transformation manager says, is an entire cultural shift. So my responsibility is to create those policies, the standards, the behaviors, those things that help our public officers understand it's not as difficult as you think to put people first. It's not as difficult as you think to give an exceptional customer experience. It's something the center does every single day with every interaction. Now, we don't expect every public officer to move mountains and to just one day wake up and decide, I am going to be MVP of customer service in my role. That's not possible. We're humans. But we also need you to understand that putting people first is simply just taking one little extra step. You don't need to run a marathon. You don't need to run a mile. Little things, using somebody's name, saying, welcome to my office, treating persons, valuing their time, accepting appointments and keeping appointments. Putting people first means understanding the importance of delivering a service every single time in the same way, regardless of where you are. And that drives me. That drives me because I think we are at a point in history. The DG likes to say we're on the right side of history. We're at a point in history where we have the opportunity to be the example, not just in the BVI as a BVI public service, but in the Caribbean and in the region, in the world. I often say you hardly ever have any public service being concerned about customer service. Public services don't need to be concerned about customer service because your customers don't have a
Have
choice.
a choice. It creates a complacency almost, yeah, naturally.
Naturally, but that doesn't mean that we should treat our customers as though they don't have a choice. That should be the reason why we treat our customers
Yes.
even more special than they expect. So that drives me because I see the changes that are happening across the public service and I hear the comments and the commendations and it makes me feel good. So that's what drives me.
So I think we've set up a good point in here to build our discussion, but I want to take this time to, firstly, as public officers join us on Teams, I want to encourage you to share the link with your co-workers across the service. Tell them to join this discussion. Throughout this discussion, we're open to questions. Even those of you watching online on Facebook, we're open to questions. So please, you can shoot them into the comment section, both on Facebook and on Teams. They'll get them to us, and we'll be able to read and provide an answer for you and have a productive discussion. I want to transition a bit to talk more directly about the HR side of this, and but I'll trick you and I'll start with Miss Brathwaite. I'll start with Miss Brathwaite. Earlier this year, you and I worked really hard on the public service transformation framework. It's a massive document. It's an impactful document, but I think it speaks loudly to the need for collaboration. I think as we were looking at the models that we want to build out that framework off of, we understood that we needed to encourage collaboration in the public service, but also set benchmarks and guidelines for what that collaboration has to look like for us to be successful. I want you to speak a little bit about the importance of collaboration, not only within a ministry or department, but being willing to engage outside and step outside of your doors to make this public service better.
Okay. All right. Great question. Collaboration is, we have to get away from the silo thinking. Okay. That is something that has hampered us as an organization, and we need to get away from it. Earlier this year, I engaged stakeholders from the private sector, from the business community, and it was a fruitful discussion. 2-3 hours. Persons were so engaging. You got such impactful information in order for me to do this work. We need to hear from each other. We need honest feedback. I know sometimes it can feel like criticism where we don't always get the feedback that we think because we're working so hard. You know, the time and energy you put into things, and then you always want it to be well received. And sometimes when there's a bit of negativity, we take that the wrong way. But I use it to fuel us. Because I know we're a great organization, we're doing wonderful things, but there's always room for improvement. And I think once again, the mindset shift. If we start to look at things differently, stop looking at the glass half empty and look at it as half full, and use those constructive criticism as an opportunity for growth and development. And by engaging all of our stakeholders, don't be scared to do it. I know sometimes it can be, but that focus group that I had with them yielded so much useful information. That helped me to build on things and to also I shared that information with the various departments that matters that were what arose out of that discussion. And then those departments understood this is what your customers want. This is where you need to improve. This is what they're looking for. So that then they have that information to see where they are based on what the feedback is saying.
So,
Mr. Adams, can I jump
of course,
in? I like the fact that the transformation manager spoke about constructive feedback and the need for us to use this feedback to improve. Ratos or mechanism is exactly that. And I think the information that we receive via Ratos, and Ms. Brown can chime in as well, this information is so beneficial. It is so helpful because we have systems in place and you would want to know that what you're doing makes sense, that the things that you are introducing and the things that you already have in place, they actually make sense and it's not frustrating the customer. A frustrated customer results in a frustrated employee.
yeah.
The more the customers are frustrated, the more the employees become frustrated, and we can't expect exactly. We can't expect a positive customer experience if we're not putting things in place to make it easier to do business with government.
Yeah.
So that was just a 2 cents I wanted to add.
So I want to dig a little deeper in the discussion of collaboration, and I want to get an idea where our minds are. And Miss Letsom, I'll jump to you on this. What does yes? What does the ideal collaboration for the Department of IT? What does the ideal collaboration look like for IT and its clients? What is the relationship that needs to be fostered even more in order for IT to be able to deliver continuously?
There's so much things to unpack in that. I think some of the information is considering IT when you're doing anything
Yeah.
from the jump, not after the fact, not when you're ready to roll out, but from the very beginning. Because a lot of times what happens is departments or whomever, they get halfway down the road and then they realize they need a system or they need some sort of work done somewhere. And IT is kind of like an afterthought as opposed to part of the beginning process. So collaboration for us means thinking about us from the very beginning. What you may consider or what you may not even consider, because there are things that we may look at that you may not have considered at all. So thinking about us from the very beginning is very important.
Yeah, that inclusion from the onset, and I think that underscore. I think we have learned it as well. Once we sometimes we try to pull off these massive projects, and we're like, wait, we need IT, and then we call IT, and then it's okay. Let's rethink how we're doing this. So that's my point from you today, that we have to collaborate as early as possible.
Yes, because we have budgets,
Oh yes,
and at
yes, yes.
times, our budget is set based
Yeah.
on what the things we have considered for the year that we plan to do.
Yeah.
So if someone comes mid-year, our budget is already set. We have to now figure out how do we accommodate, a department in their need based on the budget that we have remaining. And it may mean that we may not be able to do something that we had planned to do to be able to support the need of a specific department. So considering us early helps us set our budget, help us plan our year, all of those things is important.
And now that you're saying that, it makes me really think about how each and every one of us has a part to play, because the department that might be reaching out to you, they in themselves are not just lackadaisically pulling together a project for fun. They're doing something to make clients' lives easier. But that collaboration, in order for us to be able to serve our clients and give them the service they need at the best possible standard, each and every one of us has a role to play along the road. And I'm going to pick up Ms. Rapsat now, because from the HR perspective, I want to know really the same question as I asked Ms. Ledsam. What does the ideal collaboration look like between you, customer service, IT, but really the entire public service?
That's a good question. Collaboration is absolutely key. Me sitting here today on this panel discussion is actually part of collaboration,
Yes.
because I'm actually sitting in for the acting deputy director of HR. But collaboration in terms of working with the transformation manager, or even with Do It, or with our customer service manager, or with the director of customer service, means that I, as HR, need to be more supportive, need to
Yes.
be more understanding of
Yes.
what's happening in my ministry from the strategy level,
Yes.
working with IT to ensure that we have all the systems in place to get our work done, working with customer service to ensure that our teams are registered on Ratus. And I'll take this time to plug Ratus and really
Yes.
encourage people to please, when you get good service, or even if the service hasn't been good, please ensure that you submit the rating so that the officers can get their commendations, or if there are challenges, we can work with the director of customer service and the customer care team to ensure that we're able to improve the service that we offer. Collaboration, of course, being in a ministry, I have to work with the Department of Human Resources,
Yes.
because everything that I do touches somebody's life. And if I sit on it, or if I don't collaborate with the team at HR, then matters sit. So collaboration is very key. It's actually part of our performance management framework. So we are actually graded on the way that we collaborate, not just within our ministries, but within the public service. So my word of encouragement is to say, please get out of the silo mentality. Let's move forward working as one team.
Thank you. And I'll pick up to close off this one. I'll ask the director of customer service to jump in, because even so, I'll give the story. We're working on the service charters. I'm getting the service charters out for 60-ish departments across government. Um, that's a mammoth task. And it has showed us that it can only be done through collaboration.
Just need to take this time to say thank you to the Department of IT for saving me so often and for coming to my aid at the 99th hour.
Yeah.
But yes, it's been a mammoth task. Go ahead.
And as you kind of lead customer service at that level, can you tell me how the past few years you have kind of become a witness of the importance of collaboration? And
My
the thing is, before you start, now that I'm thinking about it, you are really the most collaborative person that I've
I
walked with
was
because it's literally every single body that you have to tap on in order to achieve this thing to make our clients' lives better.
I don't belong to the office of the deputy governor.
You
Just like
don't.
Mrs. Bradwitt does not
You
belong to
don't.
the office of the deputy governor, we belong to the public service.
You might even belong to the BVI.
You know, you have a
Because
point.
I ask Mrs. Brathwaite all the time, can you transform the weather? Can you just transform things that are not working?
You're right. You're right. I might actually belong to the BVI, Miss Bradford. I think we belong to the
Yeah.
BVI because honestly and truly, and that's when I mentioned earlier, we're not just an example in the BVI because we, and I say this shamelessly,
Yes.
I might get in trouble for it, but I say this shamelessly. The public service is the largest employer in the BVI, and usually we kind of set the tone. If we sneeze, the rest of the BVI just might catch a cold. So, yes, I want to say I belong to the BVI. Without collaboration, I won't have a job.
Wow.
Without collaboration, I would need to find someplace else to work. Then I wouldn't be doing what I'm hired to do.
Wow.
I need to collaborate in order to understand from each ministry
Yes.
where they need assistance.
Yeah.
I also need to provide guidance to the ministries on the direction that they should be going as it relates to customer service, similar to how Mrs. Bradwood would also provide guidance
Yes.
on their transformation plans. So yes, collaboration. I wouldn't be here, Miss Adams.
So I want to ask you this question as well, because you and I'll tell you this way. Every now and then, we're scrolling on. I might be scrolling on Facebook or somewhere. Or someone sends me a message and says, "I'm having this problem
Mm-hmm.
at this department. I received this service today. Fix it."
Mm-hmm.
And so, for customer service and in sometimes transformation, I'm sure you have to collaborate with the public. You have to help them. Can you speak to the importance of collaborating with the public, being open to listening and working with them?
I want to hand this over to Miss Brown.
Miss Brown.
I want
You
Miss
know
Brown.
what? She is the poster person for that.
I
You
want
are
Miss
the poster
Brown. I
child.
want Miss Brown to handle this question. Tag.
Thank you, Director. In many instances at the customer service center, we oftentimes have to connect with the public on different challenges. And one of the things that we find is that most times the public just wants someone to listen. They want someone to listen. They want someone to just basically explain the processes. Because sometimes they don't understand. They don't understand the process. They don't understand timelines. They don't understand what's happening or what needs to happen for the end result or the outcome of what they're trying to achieve based on a public service. So most time at the center, we just listen. And in many instances, it's just a basic response for them to get what they're requiring to get in terms of a public service. Thank you.
Just listen.
Just listen.
Just listen. And I'll pick up on you again, Miss Brathwaite, because I know, I'm going to say it. We had a recent change. As you might let's address this big elephant in the room. We had a switch. So I don't have Miss Brathwaite next to me anymore. She's over there. Um, Miss Rapsat, collaborating with the public. I think you are engaged with persons who are in the public, probably for the last in the last moments of their lives before they become a public officer. Can you tell me how you manage that collaboration, how you manage that relationship?
Sure. Those relationships sometimes start with persons in my children's age bracket. Persons, for example, like Mr. Adams, who I would have met because of
Yeah,
um
a young warthog.
a very young one. But it does start with being in the community, being open to talk to people. Like Miss Brown says, sometimes it's just about listening.
Yes.
And I think I have a open personality, so people reach out. How can I get a job with government? We have a new system we're using, Talio, where people have to apply.
Yes.
So people reach out to me on Facebook, they call me in the office, or they meet me on the street. I give them the instructions. I tell them, look, you can go and visit customer care. Another plug for customer care, because you can go there and they will assist you with getting your applications in. But it's about being that people person and being open to listen and try to give people guidance. And it doesn't matter if it's somebody in my ministry or if it's a young person. Sometimes people just need advice. They just need that support. And I'm a child of the community.
Yes.
I've had many people look out for me and give me advice. And I think that we know, as we continue our journey in the public service, that's an integral part of our job, ensuring that we talk to the young people and give them guidance and support. We know what's happening in our country. But if each one of us try to touch some young person, or it could be an old person, because it's never, you can start your public service career at 40, at 50. It doesn't make a difference. You know, we're an open organization. We're always recruiting. You can check the website, and we're happy to help people and support them on their journey. And a plug for Labor Department. They have their labor management
Yes.
system.
600 vacancies.
600 vacancies. So there's lots of advice and support from the labor team as well. So we are here not just to hire for the public service, but also to give support to employment within the territory. And that collaboration is key, especially if you're in an HR role. You have to be a people person. We have to encourage people.
So I like what you said, that we really have to be willing to act, to answer questions and talk to people. I think we have become too much employees of our department, employees of the office that we walk into every day. At the end of the day, we are all employees of this great public service. And I could tell you, I might not know much, but there are many times that I stood down and said, that you're trying to get a work permit, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. So we have to kind of be intentional about developing an institutional knowledge, listening, paying attention to what's happening in the public service. So at any point in time, you can be an ambassador for the work that this institution is doing. On the topic of collaborating with the public, Ms. Letsom, so we're currently going through a massive exercise of, well, we're mostly there with the new government website, but I know it was developed with the public in mind. It was developed with users in mind. Can you speak a little bit to thinking ahead when it comes to the government website, thinking about our clients and how we want to make our services available to them?
Sure. So when we undertook the task of redesigning the government's website, one of the things that was important to us was ensuring that services were upfront. What the users are coming to the government for is the services. And what's important to them is getting the information that is necessary to complete the service. What do I need? What form do I need to fill out? How long does it take? What's the cost? That's what persons are looking for. They're not necessarily looking for the department or ministry. That comes up at the end when, okay, it's approved or they need to pick up something. Where do they need to go to get that information? So for us, it was looking at it from that standpoint. Also reviewing the analytics of the previous website, what users are searching for, the type of information they're looking for. One of the things that we noted from the old site is that employment is the top search for the government's website. In addition to that is public holidays. Those are like the top two things that persons search for. Yes, really. Then after that, you have some various other services. So taking that information, we embarked on putting the users first, looking at redesigning the services so that with the users in mind, putting that information up front for us, and then all the other details come afterwards.
Putting the user first. Anybody have any comments? That you look like you're bonding with thought over there.
I have a thought. Sorry, I really did have
got
a
it back.
thought, and then
It's gone.
you said the thing, and then it went. I apologize, but yes, it is so important, and I know we keep talking about people first and people first and people first, but that's exactly the key. If persons understand, I always, when I have presentations with at Public Service 101 with our incoming new bright-eyed and bushy-tailed employees, is that, you know, we are a service organization. We're not profit driven. It is service.
Yes.
So it's always important that you remember that that piece of paper and that application on your desk is just not an application with fields and information in it. There's a person at the end of it, you know, and if you don't do your part, if you don't always understand that that's a person, that's not a piece of paper, that might cause you to be a bit complacent with processing that application and not understand, and not taking that, being very intentional in processing the application, in that we don't understand that I can impact somebody's life through the processing, by processing this application. So we have to always remember that we're impacting people's lives. It's not just a piece of paper. It's not just a process that we're carrying out. We're not little machines. You know, they're people. Yeah. So once we remember that, and I always try to drill that, because I think sometimes when in the everyday doing of our tasks, we sometimes may forget it, especially when you're not seeing the person. You're in the back end and you just get a piece of paper,
Yeah. All you have is a file
a
number.
file number. So you kind of might disconnect to the person. So I just always want to drill that home to people that it's we're serving. We're here to serve persons, and not, it's not about pushing that paper because just pass it to get it done. It's a person's life you're impacting at the end of the day.
Of course.
The transformation manager has noted. I think for us at the center, we get a lot of it. Putting people first sometimes, I don't think that we're doing the best that we really can, but I think that we really need to improve in this area. As Mrs. Bradwick noted, is that we affect persons, we also affect families. You know, it's always a bigger picture. Sometimes we look at it in a micro perspective, but we also need to look at it from the organizational perspectives. And even within ministries and heads of departments at the macro level, how am I going to affect this family? Micro wise, all of us has a part to play. To the bigger picture, there's always a bigger picture. But how are we also affecting our family? You know, when we're not doing our process correctly, when we're not looking at innovating things. I mean, look out there and see what's trending. Are we staying up with what's happening in the times? Are we looking and seeing what's happening in this particular area? Send someone away from within your department and go and have them study, or send someone to shadow someone else's in a different country, and bring back that knowledge here into the BVI, into the department, so that we can even be more transformative in our processes. One of the things I've noticed is that we need to be more innovative. We have archaic processes, archaic policies, archaic, almost so much things that are happening that are not cutting edge, trending, or 21st century. And we're hearing our customers talk about that. But collaboratively, it's not that we don't have some of the systems. We do have some of the systems. But one of the things that we need to do is to connect with some of the departments. I'm going to use an example. So case in point, with the appointment system, we can send SMS out to customers, letting them know that they have received their appointment and it's ready. So why can't we do that for the trade department? Why can't we send an SMS, for example, to say that your trade license is now ready and approved? So this is just connecting and being innovative and collaborative. Thank you.
I need to piggyback as well
Of
before you
course.
continue. I am listening to Mrs. Bradworth and Ms. Brown, and we're talking about recognizing that you're not just dealing with a piece of paper, you're dealing with a person. We live in a very small community,
Me too.
and you may not know every name, but somebody knows somebody that knows somebody. Like Miss Bradford, when I speak to the bright-eyed, bushy-tailed people at Public Service 101, I hammer home our customer promise, which is to deliver the same service you expect to receive in return. We have to remember that application form that's on your desk sitting may be the cashier at Rightway that checks you out this afternoon.
Oh yeah.
However, you didn't feel like doing it because
Yeah.
I can get to it tomorrow. That lady is walking at right where you don't know if that application that you're holding on to is something that would, like Miss Brown say, affect her family. So we need to remember we're not just thinking about ourselves, we're not just pushing paper. We need to think about us also being the customer because we are each our customers. Miss Rapsat, when was the last time you renewed your driver's license?
Last year.
You were a customer then, right?
Surely was.
Okay. And how many of us have to go to water and sewage to make a payment? We're not going to talk about the water issues, but the fact that we're going to water and sewage to make a payment. How many of us have businesses? We have to go to trade department. We are our own customers. So we have to remember the same service that you giving to people is the same service you should expect to receive in return. It may not be within the public service. It may be another business within the BVI. The place too small. For the place too small for us to not be treating each other right and well.
That's very good. I'm going to give you a virtual hand clap. Well, it's real. It's real for that one. The place is too small to not treat each other with respect. I want to start a slightly different conversation around modernization. And Miss Letsom, you might be the big dog for this one. The world is changing almost daily. I think what is becoming the most visible realization of that change is artificial intelligence. I think that it is one of the marvels of human creation. Hear me? Hear me? I heard a few sighs. Hear me? I think that it is really and truly one of the most brilliant things that human beings have ever engineered and created. When you take a step back and think about what it can do, what it's capable of, it's absolutely incredible. Some of those things and the level of automation for me, I didn't even think it was possible in my lifetime. But here we are. However, there are some massive risks with with artificial intelligence, and I think we are all, at least here in the deputy governor, we have been going through it a few months to kind of examine the scope of how we can introduce AI into the public services workflow. And I want Ms. Letsom to speak a little bit about going forward as we try to modernize the public service and look at these tools. Some of the things that we have to take note of as a public service before we really stretch our arms out and give AI a big wide hug. Or maybe let's do this. Let me start on a positive note. Tell me some of the AI and general technology, some of the possibilities that we have for transformation. Because I know you guys probably sit and think, why, if we had the money, we could do this and do that.
I think if we had the money, we would rethink a lot of the things that we currently do. We would. My coworker likes to say, light a match and start from scratch. We would do that and start foundationally from the beginning. AI opens the world to a lot of possibilities, the things that you can do in a matter of minutes, But of course, like you said, there are risks to it.
Yes.
The legislative aspects to ensure that we have legislation that supports that, ensuring that we're not losing or what's the word I'm looking for? The way that we do things that might be unique.
Yes.
Because once you put that out there, then your uniqueness, goes
Yes.
away. So it's a lot to consider. Like you said, it's a tool that can be used, but we have to be careful how we use it, how we implement it, and how we go about utilizing it throughout the organization.
I'm going to ask you a question, right? Think about how you answer it. What does the ideal, efficient, and futuristic public service look like to you? If you had everything that you could dream of, what does that public service look like? What does it feel like for our clients?
Um, Easier services, more efficient services, the ability to be not have to duplicate information, the ability to enter it once and it be sent to the relevant organizations that require and need that information.
Yes.
The ability to be notified whenever it's completed, where I can pick it up, or even be sent to me if that's an option to go forward with whatever it is I need to do. Just the ease of use for the customer, that they have all the information that they need at their fingertips and they're able to get the service that they need within the time frame that is specified by the organization or the department.
So we're just about an hour in, and I want to remind those viewing on Facebook and on Teams that you can submit questions in the comments. Our teams are watching. I have one question here that I'm going to get to in a minute, but I want to hear some other perspectives on that question. And I'll start with you, Madam Transformation. What does the ideal and most efficient and futuristic public service look like to you?
In addition to what Ms. Letsom shared, I would absolutely say the removal of, or I would say I'm always going to go back to mindset shifting. I would see a collaborative culture within our organization where we trust. There's so much trust within
Yes.
us
Yes.
that we collaborate and we don't worry about anything.
Yes.
We're doing it in the best interest of our clients. Just the barriers broken down and where we just connect with each other and just do the work of the government as holistically. And I know I will stress on that because I know it's a big thing. Because even when I go to Public Service 101, Parsons, I will always hear you mention it earlier that they're in this department, and there's no upward mobility in this department. There's no this. I'm like, you work in
In
an
the public service,
organization.
I'm
It's
saying.
not your department. So that alone tells me that there's a mind shift thing there. There's a mindset that we limit ourselves to just this one place. So when we release ourselves and stop limiting ourselves with the way we think and view things, the doors will open.
Wow.
The doors will open. Possibilities are endless. But we have to get to that place.
Yes.
So just that. So in addition to that, with the whole being able to access information, I would like to be able to go on a system. My boss gives me an assignment and requires files that may have existed before I even came into the service 29 years ago. And I can pull up that information and do what I need to do. That would be a dream. A miracle to just be able to have instant access to records to just do the work that you have to do, because that's time saving. It's just convenient. It's just like I don't have to go and figure out, because I've been around for 29 years, so I know a lot of persons because I've moved around. so a lot of times, because of my institutional knowledge, I can get things done a lot quicker than somebody who doesn't. Say, for instance, you just freshly in the service, you might know who to call or who to connect with, but is that fair to you?
No.
Okay, so anybody should be able to come in and just be able to access the information. Not because I've been here longer, I can get things, move around, navigate things a bit more easier than someone who's new. So being able to have information at our fingertips would be key. That would be like life changing.
Ms. Brown?
I've just been listening to everyone's areas, and I think for me, along with what everyone has said, I would say systems and processes along with buildings that support customers with disabilities. Because when I look around, I'm sadly, even with the customer service center, we don't have a wheelchair ramp, to support someone with a disability, but just systems and processes that can incorporate inclusive community. I think one of the things I would also say is that we need to be more culturally driven or minded. We're a melting pot, the BVI. We have Hispanics. We now have Haitians. We have all type of customers. And I think sometimes we will look at making sure that we have the necessary translations in place to support them so that we can be even more amazing. Thank you.
Ms. Rubain,
Ms. Ruben.
I want to be able to conduct service with the government without leaving my bed.
Mm.
That's what I want to do. I want to be able to renew my driver's license without having to put on makeup that morning and then drive to the DMV and hope that my picture look good because I'm stuck with it for the next couple of years, you know?
Yeah.
I want the possibility of being able to do anything. If I am in vacation in Dubai or Bali,
Bali is nice.
I know Bali is nice.
Bali's nice.
The chocolate is really good
Yeah.
too, the Dubai chocolate as well. I want to be able to renew my trade license, renew my driver's license. I don't want to have to worry that when I get back from my birthday vacation that I can't drive because I wasn't able to do it before I left, you know?
Mm.
I want, like Mrs. Letsam said, I want everything at my finger. Do you see these little devices, huh? The power that we hold in our
I'm
hand.
glued to mine. Yeah.
The world is within the palm of your hand, literally. So why do I have to get up and go and fill a form? Should we talk about the liquor license process? No. Because like we should not have to repeat the same information
With IT.
on multiple application forms. We're going to light a match and start over. Yeah, light a match and start from scratch. If we had the money in the public service to do and create an organization, the DG went to Singapore recently, and the excitement, he was like a kid in a candy
Came
store.
back and said, "This is
Listen,
what I saw.
this is
I
what we're
want
doing."
it, make it happen."
The
Yeah.
pictures were coming in on WhatsApp
Yeah.
left, right, and center because it exists.
Yes, yes.
It
It's
exists.
possible.
Right.
Yeah.
It is not a far-fetched dream that is in Never Never Land. It is on this very globe. So that's what I want.
That's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
That have been shared. All the ideas are excellent. I support everyone. The only other thing I would add is just a bit more coaching and development as we come into the service to help us to get up the ladder. We don't expect everyone. Everyone won't make it to be deputy governor or permanent secretary. But just to have that type of support, because I don't think that it's across the organization as it should. There's some places where you see movement, you see people growth, you see motivation, you feel a different energy when you enter certain places. And great example would be deputy governor's office. It's a different type of energy. We see people growing, and so we need that replicated
You've
throughout
seen
the
Ms.
service.
Ruben grow, haven't
I've
you?
seen
Yeah.
Miss Ruben, I've seen you, I've seen Miss Brown, I've seen Mrs. Cupid Bradwitt, I've seen myself, even though I'm not part of your team.
Of course.
But we need to do a bit more as team members.
Yes.
And it may not be that it's a formal program, but if each one of us say, well, okay, I'm going to work along with Miss Letsam and I'm going to give her encouragement, she will be my person, then that's how it starts. That little match, it only takes a spark to get the fire going. So it's within each one of us to, just encourage. So great points, loved each one. I can't absolutely wait to take my own selfie for my driver's license.
Yes, understand.
Well, the water bill, we could already pay online.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we are getting there.
We're getting
But
there.
just to get to the further steps and then the people part of it, that development, that'll be ideal.
That's the mind shift.
I think
That's the
that's
mind shift.
something, and I like how Miss Rapsat said that we're getting there, and I think we've on the outside. I was one of the person that was like, what are y'all doing? What are you really in there doing from 8:30 to 4:30?
Not it.
What are you doing? But when you really look at it from a different lens and you pay attention, we have made incredible progress.
Yes, we have.
Like in the past year alone, this public service has taken strides that I am almost positive has placed us in the upper echelons in this region, right? So I want to pull in a question from teams. from Malvern Brathwaite. He says, "What does being a public officer mean to you? Do you believe that choosing a career in the public service is appreciated and respected? Is an appreciated, respected, and valued profession in the Virgin Islands of today?" I am going to be the last to answer. You're watching me, so you automatically get to go first.
Okay. As I mentioned earlier, I've been a public officer for 29 years and counting. I have literally started from the bottom and gone up. I'm very proud, and I've been had some surprises. This is not when I came into the service. I never saw myself being public service transfer. Well, the post didn't exist, but still, it was not. I'm a trained counselor, and thought counseling was my thing, and that's what I was going to do, and that's it. But I have these other skill sets.
Counsel us the transfer.
Mindset shift.
Yes.
So yes, I am very, very proud. I've had opportunities to go and work in the private sector early on in my career, and I am glad I stuck to being a public officer. Because while yes, it's not always a thank. Persons don't always appreciate you. You get a lot of criticism from the public. Even though you're working very hard, they can't always, people can't see it and feel it. It's not tangible to them. They tend to say, like you said before you came into the service, what are you guys doing in there from 8:30 to 4:30?
Wow, you're doing
Why? Okay, but I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade the career path I've taken and the journey and where it's led me today, because we do meaningful work. Yes, you can go to the private sector and make a lot more money and possibly do a lot less, but would the work be as in fact, would you be able to impact, like Ms. Brown said, a family, a person, a community, a whole territory? You know, would you have that opportunity? We impact, we sit around tables and make decisions on legislation
Yes,
and
yes.
policies.
I am always mind blown every time that I'm at a table and like, so we're about to do this,
Yeah.
and I'm a part of this.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
exactly. It's like if you really sit back and think about what you do every day and the opportunities afforded to you as a public officer, like you can't help but feel like, oh my God, you know, like this is amazing.
Yeah.
In this room, I get to say I
Yeah.
was there, I was part of this. In the private sector, you don't have that opportunity. So it's all about what you value and what you want your life to be, what impact you want on that. What's your story at the end of your life? What do you want to have?
What's your
So,
story?
yeah.
Who wants it next?
I'll go. I'll go.
Keeping my head straight. So
I
he doesn't look
noticed,
at me.
but if Mr. Adams is like me, if you don't make eye contact, that's when I pick on you first. I, like Mrs. Brathwaite, I became a public officer straight out of high school. And I think this was the best decision I ever made in my entire life. If you decide that you're going to be a public officer because you want to be paid, you're in the wrong organization. I have you want to be paid as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean money's necessary, you know. But your impact is greater
Yeah.
because Mrs. Brathwaite just said, we make decisions that don't just impact our organization. We make decisions that impact the entire territory. And a lot of times persons may not agree with things that are done, but if you really think about it, a lot of things, look at the customer service program. How have we impacted the territory? We have public officers at ports of entry to deal with visitors, and that sets the stage. I would not trade being a public officer for anything. I have been a public officer 20 something years, 25. This year, counting as 20, but it's actually been like 25, 27 years since I've been a public officer. I'm showing my age. I look good for my age, right?
Yeah, man.
But I've walked, like Mrs. Bradley, I've walked across, I counted the other day, 13 different
I was
departments.
going to ask you because you've hopped and you've skipped a bit. You've collaborated with
I
everybody.
have, and I have done administrative roles, I've done technical roles, and it's been exciting. I was the government's first web administrator when I was working at GIS. That post was created for me. I ran after a while because it was too much. It was a lot. I am the first director of customer service, and it's exciting to be able to say the government of the Virgin Islands has created opportunities for persons and for the territory that has made a difference. I am a proud public officer in every sense of the word.
Wow. We're just going down the line now.
Miss Brown, run it from you, though.
Okay, just because she mentioned it.
The director picked on me. You know, I'm trying to wonder what can I say, because my public service journey has been so amazing. Initially for me, unlike all these amazing testimonies, I started in 2003, and when I came in, I worked in HR as a human resources clerk one. And 6 months later, when they had the Employee of the Quarter initiative, when that first launched, I became the winner of that quarter. Just coming into the public service, and we're talking about opportunities. And when you have amazing supervisors and superiors that see your skill set, that support you, this is in the public service, and these are why I just love being a part of this amazing service. And then 6 months later, I was promoted to HR clerk 3. And then after that, I left the service. And I went into the private, again, Ms. Adams was talking about the money. Yeah, I went across for that. But then things went south a bit. And then sometime later, I met the deputy governor at one of our amazing motivation at Ballas and Carpel. And I'm there. I want to share this. I don't know who amazing person is listening right now. And if you're thinking about coming into public service, this is the place to be. And I'm going to tell you why.
That's good, because somebody actually asked that question on Facebook. What's your advice to people who
Who want to be a public
would
officer?
want to join the public service?
Awesome. So I was there in the back row and at the Eileen Parsons Auditorium, and I'm crying my eyes out. And I'm telling my friend, I hate where I work. And I'm not going to say where that was at that time. And she's like, compose yourself. We just had an intermission. And here is the deputy governor now coming up the aisle. And our eyes being said, Miss Brown, is that you? And I'm like, oh my God, he see me crying. I said, yes, it is. And he's like, are you ready to come back? And she's looking at me. I just was telling her, and she's like, girl, compose yourself. Respond. And I'm like, yes, I am. And the next day, I had an interview. He said it was good. And then here I came into the public service as a personal assistant to the deputy governor, at the time as permanent secretary. And I want to tell you this. I came into that role having no experience, having no information. And I learned so much. I had opportunity to lead in projects and opportunities to serve and change things and just do amazing things. And then after that, we came across here. But I've been the longest serving personal assistant to the deputy governor, and it's been tremendous. I've been serving in so many roles, and like Mr. Adams says, we've done so much things where it comes to legislating. COVID came, and out of that, the deputy governor's office, along with amazing departments, we led the charge with the health emergency call center, operating center, and then the customer service center was born out of that. So in the public service, this is why it is the most amazing opportunity. You get to lead. You get to be a part of amazing opportunities that will go down in history to change generation to generations, to legislate, and to just be totally amazing. Thank you for listening. It's great being a public officer.
No pressure. No pressure.
Everybody turn to you.
No pressure.
If I be honest, I haven't given it much thought until recent. When I joined the Department of IT back in 2010, it was an opportunity, and I applied, and I got the post, and I joined. And for me, it was just an eagerness to learn what was there. I remember working with Craig at the time, and I went across to his desk and I said, what are you doing? And from there, we begin a working relationship because he showed me what he was doing. And I just had a willingness to learn. Recently, it's just been the thought that what we do not only affects the government, but it affects the entire BVI.
Yes.
Because we're instrumental in some of the systems for the departments, for the ministries. As you said, you're able to pay your water and sewage bill online. we were instrumental is trying to get those things in place and be able to put those things in place. The Inland Revenue system
Yeah.
that was recently upgraded, we were a part of that. So it's just the recent thought that being a public officer has afforded you the opportunity to learn from the position that I sit, learn about different departments because we have to interact with these different departments. If they need a system, correct. If they need a
You
system,
moderator my panel.
if they need a system, we don't just build a system. We have to understand what they do. We have to understand the legislation. We have to understand how this affects what it is we're trying to build. So from that perspective, we've learned a lot from different departments and different ministries about what they do, the services that they provide, how persons go about getting access to that information. And I would say that being a public officer, I think one of the things is just being open to learning, being open to the possibilities that are there because the possibilities are endless.
Thank you.
Story is a little bit different. So I originally came in 2001, and by 2003, I went to private sector because guess what? It wasn't the money.
Ah.
It was a lack of fulfillment. So the energy that's in this room right now,
Yeah.
I didn't have that. So I left, saw an advertisement in 2008, applied. It took a little while, but 2009 I rejoined back in the service. And it started off rocky again. I said, Lordy, I can't leave again. But opportunities started to open. The more I said, yes, let me join the Public Service Week Committee. Yes, let me go and help with this. That helped me now to be able to get an acting appointment in the ministry, eventually being confirmed as HR manager, and being able to sit here with my colleagues today. So, what I would like to just say to others out there, it's very easy to sit in your silo and hear your colleagues say, oh, don't go help them, don't go and assist. But if you don't go and assist, if you don't show that willingness, then people won't know you. Your name would come across their desk, but I don't know who this person is. But when they see Miss Rubain, oh yes, she's been involved in all these different things. We see her out there. We see Mr. Adams running. Miss Letsom is who saved me the other day from the problem that I had. So with whatever you do, and I am definitely a proud public officer. 16 years of service. I'll be honored for my 15 years on Thursday.
Yes, yes, yes.
But, the journey has been great. And don't even talk about the learning opportunities that I've been able to get. I'm on the way to doing my SHRM certification.
Yes.
I've done other qualifications since I've been in the public service, been recognized for it. And that's what it's all about. If you want to learn and grow, here is the place to be. If you want to be able to move around a wonderful organization, 60 plus departments. So you don't have to be stuck. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, reach out to the different ministerial HR managers, look at opportunities, check the site, see what transfer opportunities, what rotations are there. Job shadowing. We did job shadowing between Ministry of Environment and Deputy Governor's Office Customer Care Center. So our officers could get the magic, whatever magic is happening, we want it too. Because of course I have to chime in here and say, well, we are Team Supersonics. So we have to keep it looking good. But just saying that I am proud to be a public officer. And if anybody has any questions, these wonderful people and myself on this panel, we're always here to support you on the journey.
Thank you, and thank you to all of you. So we're just at about that point. I'd like to thank those of you who joined us on Teams. I don't know if we have any other questions that came in. Nothing there, and I don't see anything else on Facebook. So those are public officers who joined us on Teams, and those of you on Facebook that joined us live this afternoon. I'd like to say thank you for celebrating CX Day, Customer Experience Day, with us. This morning we relaunched, and reintroduced public service charters, into the public service, a momentous occasion in the history of this organization, and as the Deputy Governor said, a transition point, a jumping board as we continue to build out this institution. This afternoon, Public Service Week continues at 5:30 p.m. at the Multipurpose Sports Complex for a volleyball competition. We also are going to share a link on our channels very soon for you to have an opportunity to directly commend a public officer that you believe have served incredibly or continues to serve incredibly in the area of customer service. That's our gratitude wall. So we're building a massive wall with all the names and messages for the people who contribute exceptionally well. On behalf of the Office of the Deputy Governor, the Governor's Group, and the entire public service, and these wonderful ladies who have joined me today, it has been my distinct pleasure to sit with you today on our CX Day panel. Happy CX Day, happy Public Service Week, and I'll see you next time. My name is Iusei Adams.